What's up, everyone? Marc Lobliner, TigerFitness.com. Keep this anonymous. If you answer a question from people infrequently on YouTube, not sure if it's a place to ask. Recently, I find myself dating a woman, has a son that just turned 2. We have many discussions about the importance of discipline, consistency, and how important it is to raise your children effectively, even from the day they are born, as it impacts the rest of their lives. I see the connection you have with your children, especially your daughter. Your ability to positively influence them, motivate them, and drive them to what I believe will be great individuals such as yourself. You seem to have a reputation to be a great father, deservedly. You may have made a video about this in the past. If not, I would love for you to expand on this in a future video. As good tips for parenting are never in short demand. If not, enjoy the flattery. No, I'll go into that. I've made a lot of mistakes as a parent. I travel a lot, and I make up for that by being the best damn dad I can when I am at home. At the end of the day, we're victims to our careers, and my career takes me to Ohio or Vegas on a weekly basis, and it used to take me to trade shows and all that on a weekend basis. However, I've managed to mitigate a lot of that, and a lot of that is not ruining your relationship with your kids through punishment. A lot of people look at me and say, oh, you know, big guy, bodybuilder, obviously he punishes his kid. No, I follow something called choice theory with my kids. And choice theory, the most punishment you'll ever get is being sent to your room as a timeout to think. It's not a timeout in the sense that you're in timeout. It's a simple time where I'll say, look, Thomas tends to get carried away with things. Thomas, check it out, okay? You're not thinking straight. You're all worked up. I need you to just go take a chill. Go to your room, but you could come out whenever you feel that you're calm and you're ready to deal with this in an adult manner. And what I'll do is I'll offer them choices. You know, it's like, hey, you know what, Preston's a little young. Under 4 years old, it's really hard. But Cammie, you're making fun of your brother. How do you think it makes him feel when you say things like that? And she'll go, terrible. Okay. What do you think an adequate punishment will be? And they'll usually guess, take with my iPad, this and that. Well, you know what? That's fine. But you know what you did wrong. The thing is, if you give kids a choice to make the right decision, I've found that 99% of the time they will. And since my wife and I have switched to this style of parenting, our kids have been so much more behaved, so well behaved. I even use this with my neighbor kids are over here. Who wants their neighbor yelling at their kids? I don't. Unless they do something stupid. Then you go in and yell at them a little bit. But, you know, Thomas was playing with our new neighbor boy, you know, and they're playing right down here in the basement, and they were throwing things down the stairs, and I just came up and say, guys, you know what, that's my house. You know, I paid for this house. I've worked really hard to afford this house, and what you're doing could ding up my walls, which I paid a lot of money to paint this custom epic color right here, right? How would you, put yourself in my shoes, how would it make you feel if somebody was in your house that you paid a lot of money for, and they were risking your walls that you worked really hard your whole life for? And of course, they apologized up and down. In fact, it gets so intense when you give them the choice to think over their actions. It gets so intense. I have not raised my voice. I never raise my voice at my kids, hardly ever, unless we're in public and it's a danger situation. I will never raise my voice. If I raise my voice, something bad has happened, right? But I'll sit there and just talk just like this, like, Thomas, how do you think that made Preston feel? Cammie, how do you think that made them feel? On multiple occasions, they've broken down in tears because they realized the choice they made was not the correct choice. By doing this, my kids no longer look at me as the enemy. They don't look at me as a friend, but our relationship isn't strained due to my unwillingness to accept choice theory and use something that most parents use. In fact, I'd say 99.9% of parents use, which is external control psychology. So by not using external control psychology, do this or else, what happens? What happens when you do that to your kids? Don't ever have sex. Okay? You tell them what happens, the good, the bad, the ugly of sex. Let them make that choice. STDs, pregnancy, versus, well, sex is good. Sex is fun, right? But there's a lot of risks involved. And you might regret it later when you want to have a stable relationship with someone who doesn't want to marry a whore, right? It is what it is. But, you know, imagine if you just, I went to a Lutheran university. These girls were sheltered their whole life. Parents told them sex was for the devil. You know, raised basically in either Catholic or a Lutheran household. They were quite, when they were out of their parents' stronghold, they became quite the sluts. And that's something I don't want to see in my kids. If my kids decide that's where they want to be in life, by all means, it's their decision. And while I'm 35, I remember my teens quite well. And the everlasting chase for ass was there, okay? As parents, we need to know that we've been there and we should remember our childhood. And our kids are going to make the same mistakes or the same bad choices we have, but they're also going to make some good choices as well. Our only goal is to have them make more good choices than bad choices. And that's where choice theory comes into play. I could talk about this for hours. One is don't force your kids to do anything. Like, you should have your kids play softball. You should have your kids wrestle. No. My kids choose what they want to play. Take my daughter in batting cage every week just about in the off season, for soccer off season. And I can't call it an off season, Doug, because, well, they aren't playing soccer games. But here's the thing, though. I asked her, hey, do you want to play softball? You're killing the ball. Nah, I just want to play soccer. I'm not going to make her play softball. Thomas, people kept saying he should wrestle because he's strong and he's small. Thomas, you want to wrestle? Yeah, let me look into it. Looked at a school, talked to them, called the coach, the director. It was a nice, phenomenal organization out here in Illinois. And let Thomas, I sat down, I said, Thomas, what do you think? Do you still want to do it? No, I just want to play soccer. So the key is, let your kids be kids. Parent them by offering direction. Don't tell them what to do. Let them make their own choice. You know why? Because their choices are going to be better than the choices you would make for them. That's not a game.